Alright. Oh, it's gonna be one of those days. I can feel it already. It was the day where I woke up and went... It's gonna be a day. So... My mic is working, right? Okay. Sorry about that. I think the game plan for today is just try to kill the giant fire demon thing in there. I hear stone scraping and footsteps. Oh. Hello, welcome. Bye. Oh yeah, you. I always forget about the millipede fellas. Alright. It's only one thing, but it's also a pile of thing. Oh well. I hear the stone dragging sound again. Alright, sounds like he was going back to wherever he stands. I wasn't sure if he was going back to wherever he stands or if he was coming down the stairs, because I could just hear it progressing from left to right. Oh. Whoa. Well, I wasn't quite expecting that. He aggroed on me a little bit earlier than he did before. Because before, this guy showed up first. Yeah, I'm not doing that every time. I'm just gonna... Yeah, leave me alone. Thank you. Oh, these guys. I forgot about them. it's farther away than that. Alright. Ah! It one-shots me too. Okay. I am a frail and fragile boy. I would be tempted to complain about poor balancing were it not for the fact that this is completely self-inflicted. Well, I need to rest after that. That was disastrous. There we go. That's better. These guys are really beginning to annoy me. One mechanic I am fairly glad this game doesn't have, at least it doesn't seem to have, is a stamina system where when you go below out of stamina, it's got like the little gray bit of, yeah, you over stamina'd on that jump or something. And then you have to wait a little longer before you can... I don't even know what I was... I thought I was dodging, and he... This is gonna be a fun day. Yeah, I'm glad his stamina doesn't have that system, because that could be an inconvenience. And I can't really be bothered to fight that big demon fair and square if it's gonna end that well. So I'm probably going to adopt the slower approach that works more often. I say works more often. When it works quite well. But it doesn't actually work all that often. There's that stone scraping sound again. These to my right. Alright. Cool. Sounds like he's leaving me alone for now. Face me, demon. Just had something occur to me that I feel like I'd be much more willing to do right now than attempt all this over and over again. Which is that I have the ability to get a divine battle axe. And sure, it makes sense for demons to be, you know, exceptionally fire resistant, but I can't imagine them being resistant to whatever divine means. Is off today. There, surely this hits. Bro. I don't think you realize how much I would appreciate it if you didn't. Thank you. $1,200 isn't gonna get me very far, but I don't feel like facing all the one-shot monsters right now. Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to head back to Anor Londo, because there was another blacksmith there. He might be able to use the embers is this one? This is... I just remembered this was in a previous stream. I found multiple, well, smithing embers and stuff that what was his name? Andre, the blacksmith in the Undead Parish, was saying he couldn't use. I'm just gonna kill these guys using old reliable. Because it's a lot easier than fighting them fairly. I feel like out of the three people between me and the blacksmith, the tricky one isn't going to be either of these two giants, because I can kill both of them fairly easily with this method. The tricky one is going to be the Silver Knight. Oop. I forgot that up-down aiming. It's going to be the Silver Knight off to the right side of the room. Alright. 1 out of 3. Oop. Oh, that's insignificant damage. There's arm again, if anything. Yeah, that's aiming is off. Oh, that's 3 times what it was before, so he'll actually die now. Oh, I just figured something out. So when someone is too far away to take damage, it's not that the enemy is so far away that the AI isn't loaded or anything. It's that it's so far away that the damage fall off is 100%. Because the farther away I am, the less damage my crossbow does. So it makes sense that if I'm really far away, the crossbow does no damage at all. And if I did 0 damage, why would it bother showing me the health bar? I didn't do anything. Okay, that makes sense. At least it makes sense to me. I don't know that I would have had the damage fall off that much, but... at least they got some kind of excuse or something. But, you know, thinking about it at the same time, it does make sense that the damage falls off at all, because the crossbow bolt is only propelled for the instant in which the crossbow is actively firing, and from then on, due to wind resistance, it's just slowing down and losing power. So it does make sense that it would become less powerful, but to that extent, I guess it makes sense that it would cross a threshold at some point where it becomes insufficiently powerful to punch through a giant's armor. Oh, he dropped something. Delightful. Where's the other dude? There he is. Well, that's not a fight I'll win standing there. Oh yeah, the black eye orb. I'm sure that means something. Well, that should hit him if I can get the right elevation. Oh, nope. Apparently not. Let's try that. That's even further off. This is a big dude. Wait, I don't have to kill him. I do want that, whatever it is, though. Titanite. Well, it's not the worst thing I've ever found. Not sure what is the worst thing I've ever found, but it's definitely not that. Thing I think I've had about the least use for is some like dung pie. Alright. Sweet. Can you use embers?
What's that? Shiny, shiny. Give me that. I make weapons shiny.
Yes.
I had shiny, shiny. I make weapons shiny.
Cool. Have an upgraded battle axe. That crystal lightning.
Comment soon.
Let me check. I have a... Yeah, I do have another battle axe.
Hello. Forge I can. Strong I am.
They're gonna actually make me do this, aren't they? Okay, so there's another. I only know 3 blacksmiths. And this one has accepted the crystal ember.
Comment soon.
I suppose... suppose it's possible that because the crystal ember was the one at the top of the list, that was just the one that Andre would reject every time. I'm gonna hope that's what was happening, and I'm going to warp back to Firelink Shrine. Even though I won't be able to warp back to the Demon Wastes. But frankly, I don't feel any real rush to get back there. I haven't looked at this statue. Huh. And I'm just gonna guess a couple things. I'm guessing that's Gwyn. And I'm also guessing that that statue is to scale because all the others are. Big lad. One might even call him a large fellow. Warp. Firelink Shrine. Alright. The large fellow naps again. But I'm not here to bother him, so... I'm here to bother the folks up here. Oh, here's how much damage does this thing do? Oh, he felt it. Oh, he felt that a little bit less. Hello? You must be Baldur. Hehe. I remember these guys being super tough and worth a lot of money, but at the same time, I'm kind of glad they're not. I enjoy being able to one-shot everyone and not knowing how much damage I take from them, because it would be kind of embarrassing. Just because my armor is woefully inadequate, like as a general rule. I can't wear good armor.
Well,
Use this one?
again. You seem to be doing all right. Need anything forged? Oi, where are you off to?
I thought I had, yeah. Ember required for weapon ascension. Large flame ember used in ancient rites, handled only by blacksmiths knowledgeable in ancient methods. So I probably have to go to the
What's
one.
going on with you, Lee? I thought you had gone hollow there.
Fun little line about me turning around and walking off like a strange fellow. Battle axe can just make the number go up more. I can make it go up more, but differently somehow. I really don't see what the difference there is, except that this is more. I can make it magic, which is what I came here to do. So divine battle axe. Alright. Now, to get it the rest of the way, I estimate I will need 7
Don't get yourself
green
killed.
titanite. Which, I remember the guy who sells that is through Sen's Fortress, so I'm gonna rest here. I think I want to test my pyromancy against these fellas. There. Well, they're a decently hardy opponent that I've not hit with fireballs in a minute. Pretty good. Not quite all the way, but pretty good. So that makes this a little bit easier, I guess. The ability to one-shot them would be terribly convenient, though. I reckon I can probably one-shot these fellas, though. Not that I'm going to. What's up, dude? How you doing? You're getting fireballed, though. I forgot how much of a mess this place was. It's a proper mess. I do remember, however, that the boulders do not care which side you touch. They act as flaming orbs of spike. I also remember the death of this elevator, so let's not die to it. This won't help a little bit at all if I... That won't help at all if I fail at this part, but... Hey. Hey. Please fall. Thank you. Fatality. I don't even play those games. Like a super casual gamer. Basically, the only fighting games I ever play are the Smash Bros. Series. And out of those, I've only played 2 of them. Alright. There are a couple fellas I need to kill here. The one crossbowing at me is one of them. The one here is one of them. Assuming... Dude, no! I dropped my guard for a moment. Hi, just got here. What's going on? I'm getting a divine battle axe so that I can maybe actually hurt demons a little better. And there's a guy in Sen's Fortress that... There's a guy in Sen's Fortress that sells green titanite, which I am out of. It is now pertinent that I do not die. It was medium importance that I not die before, but now it is critically important that I not die. Which, now that I've said that out loud, means I am going to die. I think that guy might have killed me once or twice before. But not usually. Even want to risk it with you. See, the aim wasn't even right. What? There it is. Disappeared for a bit there. Not entirely sure why. Also, he's chill as long as I don't poke him. So, you know. Don't poke the snake. Come on, try it. Try me. You trying it? Come on. Approach. I dare you. That's what I thought. Wasn't that close. I just remembered that I totally abandoned Big Hat Logan in the Duke's archives. Well, I hope he's cool with that because that place was pretty horrible and I don't really want to go back there. Alright, your turn. Receive fireball. Oops. Honestly, 2,750 isn't a bad amount of pocket change, but I'd really much rather have the, so what, 11,000 that I had before I died. This is a fancy boulder. How do you like that? Fancy pants. Snazziness can only help against pyromancy so much. And that was a regular boulder. Oh yeah, that guy. I remember him. I don't feel like fighting him. I have 16,000. I'd rather just pick up a handful of Titanite. No! Ow! Ow, I hurt. It wasn't even that much damage. But, ooh, I bruised my ego. He's probably fine. Yeah. Oh, what did I miss? So, I decided to get a divine battle axe to swap my fire battle axe out for, since I'm fighting apparently fire resistant demons. And to upgrade a divine battle axe, you need green titanite, which this guy sells. Last I checked.
Oh, yes, it's you. What is it? Still something you need, eh? Anything at all?
Yeah. So...
Go along, try and make something of yourself. But nothing will come of it. And I should know.
Well, thanks for the vote of confidence. I made it farther than you. He doesn't even know that I made it through Anor Londo. Anyway, hi dude. I feel like you must die. Yeah, right now, I forgot how expensive that stuff was. So yeah, right now I'm mostly just farming up a bunch of soul so that I can upgrade a battle axe so that I can theoretically hurt demons better. Because the logic I provided at the time was, if a demon is resistant to fire, which would make sense, something divine feels like it would be the thing they're vulnerable to. So I decided to get the divine battle axe. Still not enough. Alright. But he is very easy to kill, and there's a bonfire nearby. I just remembered another dude. This dude actually has the capacity to hit back, though, so I fear him. Sweet. Loot. Still can't afford one more, and I need, at the bare minimum, 3 more. So. I'm gonna rest there. And I'm gonna see if I can farm this big dude. Alright, let's get a bit closer. The damage fall off is real. Oh yeah, that was another thing. I think I figured out sorry, I just looked and saw that you said Vine Boom, and I'm not sure what specifically you were talking about. So now in my mind I'm just applying that to everything that's happened. But I think I figured out why the enemies take no damage when I'm too far away. I suspect it's not actually because I'm so far away that the game can't be bothered to keep track of how much health they have. I'm guessing it's more that I'm so far away that the damage fall off is all of it. You do no damage because it dropped off to 0. Alright. Now we do it again. Actually, how much did this guy drop? I wasn't paying attention and I kind of regret it. I should really equip much more powerful pyromancy for this dude so that I feel more confident in my ability to kill him instantly. Tomb magic. Let's go Great Fireball and Fire Orb. That sounds powerful. Let's see if Great Fireball can one-shot this guy. If not, I'm not sure what the point is because that other spell does more than half of his health, and this is 2 tiers above. Bruh. 700. Well, that's not bad. But I get the distinct impression that this is meant to be used more like a grenade than a throwing knife. Because it was just, oh yeah, it does the exact same thing, but bigger. I want to shoot him in the head because it does more damage there. I feel like this is actually a much more time-effective way to grind for soul than what I used last time I was grinding for huge amounts of soul. Because last time I was killing those tree fellers in fellers. The feller is probably an actual word in this context. The walking bushes. I was killing a bunch of those, which only drop 100 soul each. I should be careful how fast I walk off that ledge. And there were 3 of them in the place where I was farming them, so I would only get 300 soul per attempt, but it would go a little bit faster. But also, each attempt of that was about as fast as it takes for me to kill this guy, including all the travel time and everything. No chance. So yeah, even if I was just killing that dude, it would be about as good. But then I also kill this dude, which admittedly costs resources, but I'm not terribly worried about them because I have... Ow! Rude. I've been shot in the back. Yeah, I'm not terribly worried about the resources that I'm using on this because they're not terribly expensive and I have a lot of them. Okay, I say they're not terribly expensive. That depends on which ones I'm getting. These are the wood bolts, which are 10 souls a piece. They're super cheap as long as I don't use 300 each time I kill this guy. I'm profiting. And if I was using 300 each time I killed him, then it just wouldn't be very time effective. So it's enough for 3 more, which was the minimum. What I really want is to get see, I got 3. And I'm assuming it'll get more expensive. So I really want to get 4 or 5 more. Just because I'm certain the price will go up to 3 Titanite apiece. Pretty soon here. But I don't know if it's one of them will be 3 Titanite apiece or 2. And if it's 2 of them or 3 apiece, then I need to save up until I can buy 5 more, which would only be 2,500 or so. Which, you know, at this rate is perfectly achievable. And I know I'm doing this to provide myself with a tidy alternative to using fire, but I kind of want to grind up a bunch of these and man, the thoughts just aren't flowing through my head very fast today. Kind of want to grind up a bunch of these and see if I can max out my pyromancy again. Because I got it as high as that one fellow at Firelink Shrine can get me. But there's also that lady in the Blighttown, that teaches pyromancy. So I can continue to upgrade it. But that is kind of expensive because I'm getting a bunch of green titanite here is 25,000 soul, and for the next level alone I would need 33,000 soul. Man, thinking about this. What level is my pyromancy? +3? I can't remember. Did it go as high as +10 or did it stop at +5 before? Because if it stops at +5, then it would probably be safe to stop at a mere 70,000 soul and assume I'll be able to hit max. Max pyromancy level with that much. Because then even if the price for the next level jumps up, it could jump up as much as 7,000 and I'd still be able to. Ow. Sorry. I don't know if you heard it, but there's a Roomba running into the door. Alright. Can't hit me here. I'd be a little surprised if you can't hear it. It's really loud. I wonder what happens if a weapon breaks. Also, I am inclined to believe that it would stop being cost effective to kill these guys if I was using one of these crossbows. Alright. Well, I can probably afford it, but I should do some equipment maintenance. That's a whole additional factor I forgot to account for in the math. That said, it seems to be inconsequential. There we go. Big lad. What if all these guys twice my height are actually just normal sized dudes and I'm an exceptionally small undead guy? Like I wanna say like Link in the new games. I mean, he's not exactly half the height of everyone else, but he's still not a large fellow. Man. I said that, and that put me on a train of thought. I was thinking about how there was a time when graphical limitations meant that Link had to be about the same size as most of the enemies in the game. Which, this is like the original first Zelda game.
Still, anything you want? What's mine is yours.
Green Titanite. Okay.
There you go, another brave soul. But soon you shall see. You and I are different.
No, we are different.
Yes, you soon shall see the putrid fates we both share.
We are different. You are bothering to retain some semblance of humanity and wearing heavy armor. I can't be bothered with either of those. Yeah. Whoop. Ow. Well, that was a lucky accident. Oh, I just heard someone start marching towards me, and I don't care for that, so no. But yeah, original Zelda game and the first one, they could only have so many pixels on really old consoles, so they just made everything as small as they possibly could. I think it's the closest one. So they just made everything as small as they possibly could, so Link was about the same size as most other stuff in that, and he was still built like a square. And then you go on to more recent stuff, and this led me through a train of thought that led to, man, can you imagine if you showed any game that came out in the last 10 years, which this game I'm playing right now is too old to qualify for that. If you showed just about any game that came out in the last 10 years to someone 30 years ago, that would blow their minds. Specifically, like, if you showed Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, or quite frankly, just about any Switch game to someone at the time, 1994, that was when Doom 2 came out. I'll admit, I think that came out in like December of 94. I don't remember. But if you showed someone Breath of the Wild running on something that you could fit in a toaster and fry, that would blow their minds. It blows my mind that they're able to run it on something that's small, frankly. It makes me wonder what kind of corners they were cutting to make that possible, but at the same time, I am vaguely aware of some of them.
Well, hello, you.
Like, if you ever play Blows Mind Again by showing him what specs his computer would need in order to run it. Yeah. Alright.
Don't get yourself killed. Neither of us want to see you go hollow.
And now I have Divine Battle Axe. Which, for the sake of comparison, like, both of these should absolutely one-shot the fellas I'm about to whack. Well, I'll start with the Fire Battle Axe. I can one of these. A gigabyte of memory, a gigabyte of RAM. Yeah, that's... Those are numbers that are... We tend to forget how big they are. Like, the original Battlefront games, when you put them together, they had a grand total of, I want to say somewhere around 15 gigabytes. But those were, you know, like PlayStation 2 era. At least the second one was. I never played the first one. I forgot to read the number. 167 versus 368. So yeah, it's not nearly as powerful against these guys. I think that was about the trade-off I was looking at, was... Yeah, the Fire Battle Axe does more damage. Imagine watching your computers being invented and developed over your lifetime, only to live to see people arguing the moon landing was CGI. I saw a video that was just a bunch of VFX artists watching the footage of the moon landing and going, alright, would that be possible to fake? Given the technology they had at the time. Oh man, I just realized I should not be heading back down the elevator because the bonfire down here doesn't work. Would that be possible to fake? Because the technology at the time was a bit different. And they were looking at a bunch of details that would be quite difficult to emulate. And they had other huge, high-budget movie projects that came out at a similar time that they were using for comparison. And it's some little stuff like the dust. When dust is getting kicked up, it moves in a way that doesn't suggest air being present. So like, or gravity being as strong of a factor. So like, if I were to kick up some dust, instead of just kind of going and swirling like dust does, oh, my hand went off camera, swirling like dust does, it just flies off in a roughly straight line. It would still fall, but it's just... That was one of the things they also looked at. There was a long continuous shot of just flying over the surface of the moon. And they asked, okay, how would one... How would one fake that? They were going to fake it, but it was cheaper to film on location. I'm getting there. Oh, great. Well, might as well work there first. But you're saying, okay, how would you fake this long panning shot over the surface of the moon? And since they didn't have computers that could render an image like that, the answer was basically just a matte painting or something like that. Just make a picture and pan over that. But the shot just continued on for so long that they concluded, yeah, the whatever painting this is would have to be the length of a football field to be that detailed and that long. So that's one thing. But, you know, that's definitely theoretically possible. Other things is like, oh, they're running around in a studio when it's the footage of them walking around on the moon. But then, yeah, admittedly, the background does kind of look like a matte painting until the astronauts run off into the background. It's like, oh, he just keeps going. He's still walking. Where's the wall? And it looks like a matte painting because there isn't any air there, so you don't get that nice, like, here in the game you even get it where it's like the stuff further off looks kind of blue and fogged a little bit because there's air between here and there. So you get that sense of distance. But if there was no air or atmosphere or anything, then you wouldn't get that so much. They got Stanley Kubrick to direct them faking the moon landing, but he was such a perfectionist he insisted they film on location. I have only seen one of his movies, and I must admit, I didn't get it. But I'm gonna go back to the previous topic. The whole thing was such a large series of... I mean, I guess doing something like that would be theoretically possible with the technology at the time, but it would be really expensive. But then there was the... Man, I just had another thing occur to me about the game. I'm gonna continue grinding and level up pyromancy. I was saying I was gonna do that earlier. Why didn't I do that? But there was the one problem of the way the dust moved suggests that there was little or no atmosphere determining its path. So that was one thing that in order to do that, they would basically just need a giant vacuum chamber. But then with, again, them walking around in space off into the background, okay, where's the wall? He just keeps walking. With that would be so much larger than the largest vacuum chamber on the planet and would cost a fortune. And how would you hide that? But yeah, that was their conclusion at the end of this whole analysis. Is it, as VFX artists, their conclusion at the end is it would have been cheaper to fly to the moon for real. Now, if they had the current CG technology and no one else had any satellites or cameras or anything to verify that we did in fact not do this, I'm sure they would have tried to fake it if they could, but I don't see that happening. This is one thing I think some people possibly fail to understand with that, is that the computer they were doing this with was about as powerful as a smartphone and the size of a building. Okay, I say about as powerful as a smartphone. It wasn't that powerful. It was a massive computer that just didn't have any power behind it. Because that's where the technology was at the time. Oh, that one. Well. Excellent, you dodged, blocked half the damage. It just feels wrong without the fire sound. Yeah. Honestly, you don't even have to go all the way back to 1994 in order to blow people's minds with modern video game graphics. Well, that's convenient. Like, this game, I don't have much comparison. I can only think of two other big budget video games from that approximate time frame. It wasn't the same year as, like, within a couple of years of this. There's this, there's Skyrim, and there's Halo Reach. And I've played both of those. One of those I played to completion many times, and the other I have never finished and kind of got burnt out on and gave up on. You'll never guess which is which. But of those two, we've got Skyrim looks I'm gonna say, whoa, comparable to this. Maybe a little worse, just because the animation in this is pretty good. And Halo Reach, they did a phenomenal job with Halo Reach. I'm not gonna say it still holds up great to this day, but it holds up pretty well. It's showing its age. It was released on the Xbox 360, and you can kind of tell. But they did a really good job. I remember, I think I saw a video talking about how the art style changed with the various Halo games, and it was mostly defined by the technology available to them. Because in Halo 1, that was released on the original Xbox, and they were just figuring out how to do stuff. Halo 2, that was also on the original Xbox, but they had it down a little bit better, so they... Ooh, that was close. They did it a little bit differently. Down here. Alright, you're not getting down here, I'm coming up there. I had it down a little bit better, so they tweaked it here and there, but mostly it stayed pretty similar. Then for Halo 3, they were making that thing to run on the almighty Xbox 360, which, I mean, I'm using the, like, I don't know, 5th re-release of the Xbox 360. I don't know how many versions of that they made. They made a lot. And I'm running this game on one of those. But that was the newest, most powerful game console. I don't know if it was like the most powerful game console in the world or anything like that. It was more powerful than a PS3, at least, to my understanding. Most powerful console that Microsoft had. But now they could do fancy stuff like shadows. They could do some shadow stuff. I mean, you see I've got a shadow in this game too. They could do some light reflection stuff. Arkham City, Portal 2, Uncharted 3, Gears of War 3, and Dead Space 2 also came out in 2011 per Wikipedia. Okay, I've played Portal 2, I've played Uncharted 3, I've played Gears of War 3, and I have not played Dead Space 2, nor do I have any immediate plans to. So, with that bigger selection, I can now say Skyrim is definitely behind the curve on that one. I kind of hate to say it, but I think Dark Souls is also a little bit behind the curve on that. It looks a little bit older than that. It's like the game is... It's a certain kind of excellent where every little bit of age and flaw just shows. But with Halo 3, since it was running on the brand new Xbox 360 console, they could mess around with better lighting stuff, so things looked kind of sparkly sometimes. They also had foliage with physics interactivity, so like some bushes would move when you walk through them. Excuse me. And like there are a couple little saplings that when you hit with a car they bend over. I think there might also be some hanging cables in the mission. I want to say it's called Savo Highway, spelled with a T at the beginning. There are like some cables dangling that you can hit with a car and they'll move. But it's another visually impressive and pretty game. Halo Reach rolls around, and enough time has passed then that the console is kind of starting to get old, and there aren't many new tricks they can whip out to make the game look better. So they tweak the art style a little bit, make it a little bit more muddy, I guess. They like take the classic Halo look and put some stuff on it to look a little more industrial. You know, the ever popular gritty, realistic sci-fi we're fighting space aliens appearance that I don't understand why everyone's so set on it. But they tweak the art style a bit and use mocap or motion capture for their cutscenes and animations and stuff. And that's how Halo Reach manages to look better than Halo 3 is motion capture technology. Then Halo 4 rolls around, and I kind of feel bad knowing this about okay, I kind of feel bad for them knowing this, but Halo 4 rolls around, and they have to make a brand new Halo game. This, like, the Xbox flagship franchise, alongside a couple others. I don't know what else Xbox markets. I know that we're really big on Gears of War, but I only recently-ish, it was a couple of years ago now, played those for the first time. I'll see if I enjoy them as much on my second playthrough, but this is a studio now having to make a game for the flagship Xbox video game franchise, and it has to run on the ancient potato computer that is the Xbox 360 when they're making this. And what was the new thing that the Xbox 360 could do that the previous console could not? It was kind of fancy lights and shiny surfaces. So, what did they do? They went and changed the art style so that everything is covered in fancy lights and shiny surfaces. It's nuts. There's It's all over the place. And then for Halo 5, I have to give some credit to them. They made changes, and they were sticking to it. They weren't going, oh, we just made a one-off thing that looks really different for no reason. They stuck to it. They stuck to their guns. So, some credit for that. At the same time, having stuff designed specifically to be shiny and covered in lights, and now they have a more powerful console to do it with, there's a lot of weird light effects, which I'm saying that largely to mean a lot of bloom, a lot of, I think the term is ambient occlusion. It's just aggressively well lit, except for that one part in, I think, the second mission. The first time you play as Master Chief, and it introduces the hunters. In that part, they actually managed to make it dark. And that's another thing I could go on a whole tangent about. But they actually had it dark enough you needed the flashlight to see. But at the same time, the shiny surface thing, it's like you've got this circle of oppressive white light in the center of your screen and pitch black everywhere else. If I remember correctly, admittedly, I haven't played through that game for, I want to say, at least 3 years now. I just completely lost my train of thought. I hate it when that happens. It's foreshadowing for a Halo movie directed by J.J. Abrams. I'm gonna be honest. I can't imagine that being much worse than what Paramount did for the TV show. Like, I have to wonder if they were trying to fail, because you would certainly have to try to do much worse than they did. Like, I've seen at least one Halo movie, only one that comes to mind off the top of my head. But I've seen at least one Halo movie that was fine. I don't have any strong feelings towards it. And they got the memo on the one rule of Halo Master Chief: don't take his helmet off. One thing they could have done with the show, this would have been just a fun little neat effect, I guess, is just find a really big guy to wear the suit, don't take the helmet off, and then get Steve Downes to, I think that was his name, the original voice actor, to still do the voice, because if you can't see his face, you can't tell that he's not the one saying that. Yeah, as bad as a J.J. Abrams Halo movie would be, I feel like with his style, he might be able to at least accidentally make something better. Which I think that might be how he got famous, was by accidentally making decent-ish movies. Yeah, the lighting in Halo 5 is a bit much. It's very aggressive. And then they got so much backlash over Halo 5 that they went and completely redid the art style for Halo Infinite to be somewhere in between the original Halo games and the new 343 Halo games. And I think it looks neat, but I do have one tiny little complaint about the way that Halo has been run by 343, and it is not quite what one would expect given what everyone else has to say about the way they do it. My complaint about the way that Halo has been treated by 343 is that they need to stop listening to the fans. Because they'll start doing something interesting, and then the fans will say, no, I don't want you to do that, I want you to do something else. And so then they'll start backpedaling, which is... it has yet to be as interesting as whatever they were doing before. Like, I'm not gonna say that the new Halo games are as good as the original ones, per se, or like their writing, but they're not that bad. And, like, you look at the... people got really mad about the gameplay in Halo 5 being very different. It's fun, so why do you care if it's different? If you want to play Halo 3 again, then go play Halo 3 again. They re-released it on PC. And I can think of one specific problem I have with the writing in Halo 5. Okay, two specific problems with the writing I have in Halo 5. One is the part where they have... what was her name? I think it was like Tanaka. One of the main characters just give a speech in a cutscene on the way to one of the missions. And it came out of nowhere, was a little bit hard to watch, and then just disappeared. It felt like they were trying to give payoff for something they didn't set up. So there's that part. And then another part, which would just require a slightly different direction in choreography, is the fight between Locke and Chief. A lot of people were really mad about that fight. It's like, why was that even a close fight? It was dumb for all these reasons. And there's one little thing that I'm not going to say it would be easy to do, because I am not a fight choreographer, I am not an animator, I don't know how hard this would be to do. But it wouldn't require that much of a change on the story. And by that much, I mean, I don't imagine you would need to change the story at all to make this difference. But just have that fight still be as close as it was, but instead of it being a one-on-one versus between Chief and Locke, it's Chief versus all of Fireteam Osiris, and maybe even have him kind of not winning for a bit. but this is one of 2 Spartans ever to be designated as hyperlethal. The other one being the guy you play as in Halo Reach, who dies at the fall of Reach. And he's going against a squad of, I don't know if they're Spartan 3s or Spartan 4s. They're a later version of Spartan that is not as potent. I don't know how else to put that. Because the Spartan 1s weren't called Spartans. That was called something like Project Orion, and yeah, they were super soldiers, but only kind of. They were more effective than your average Marine, but they weren't, oh, I'm gonna flip a car now. To my understanding, Sergeant Johnson is one of those. That gives a pretty solid scale of, okay, so clearly not quite normal dude, but also not quite obviously super soldier either. And they stopped doing Spartan ones because they were ridiculously expensive and not that much more effective than regular soldiers. Then Spartan 2s were this whole super sketchy deal where they would abduct. One sec. I'm getting all foggy again. It was this whole sketchy thing where they would abduct like small children. I want to say around like 6 years old, and replace them with clones, which, due to how effective cloning is in the Halo franchise, the clone would then die or be horribly crippled after, you know, maybe a couple of years. So they'd replace them with clones, and then the clones would die, and the parents wouldn't look into it and ask questions because, I mean, they still had their kid. So then they would take the I think they were trying to force you to like Locke by diet warfing Chief. That is not how you make me like someone. That's like, how do I put this? That's like trying to make me like Syndrome in The Incredibles, with that scene where he beats up Mr. Incredible. When he first reveals himself and the new Omnidroid. That doesn't make me like him. That, at best, asserts that he might be threatening. Which then, when people were upset about that, they explained that, oh yeah, the only way that Locke was able to keep up with Chief at all was because Chief is using super antiquated armor and other equipment. It's like, oh yeah, he's using stuff from way back there. Anyway, but yeah, the Spartan 2s were then, as 6-year-olds, trained from that tiny young age to be super effective soldiers, and, you know, given a whole bunch of augmentations, like putting ceramic on their bones so that they'd be virtually unbreakable, sticking a bunch of steroids in them so that they would grow more muscles and their muscles would be denser, so They look like big, burly, scary guys and are stronger than they look. They would then take... They would also have the Mjolnir armor, which was actually the most expensive part of the whole process, somehow. But they'd take Mjolnir armor and give that to them. Oh yeah, they also get like a computer chip or something in their head so that they can use the Mjolnir armor. Otherwise, it would just kill them. Like that one scene in Iron Man 2 where they show what other people attempting to make Iron Man suits looks like. And it has the the pilot there, and the suit like twists around and breaks his back. That's what the Mjolnir armor does when you don't have the brain chip to use it correctly. But that does a lot more to make them super strong because it has like a steel muscle layer or something. I'm not super sure on the details of that one. But at the end of the day, what you get is like a 7-foot tall super soldier with, I'm not gonna say virtually indestructible armor, but it was armor that was like this thick. So, you know, it's shrugging off anything that's not powerful enough to be used against vehicles. This is the lore stuff, not the gameplay stuff. The gameplay stuff works a little bit differently. But yeah, so you get the giant super soldiers wearing 1,000 pounds of armor that have been training since they were small children. Those are the Spartan 2s. I don't know much about the Spartan 3s and 4s and or if there were even that many afterwards. But I do know that those guys were more legal in that they actually joined the Spartan program as adults that could join the army legally. So, there was that. And Spartan is one of those. So he was a guy who might have been a soldier. I don't know much about the Agent Locke lore. I know he showed up in like a Halo 2 terminal. If Iron Man armor was made by Elon Musk. Which part? The Mjolnir armor or the you need a brain chip to operate it? Actually, that last part sounds about right. Oof. But then they had the other Spartans where it's just, you know, like Locke was just a guy who was probably in the military and then joined the Spartan program and became a Spartan, I guess. Really, I think I would have been able to get behind it being a close fight between Chief and one of the other Spartans if the other Spartan, instead of having it lock, they had it Buck. Because Buck was in a previous game and was established to be very good at stuff in that game before he was a Spartan. Which is in Halo 3 ODST, I think it was called. Which was originally planned to be a DLC for Halo 3 until they had put enough stuff in it that they were like, yeah, we can make this a separate thing. And people were mad about that until actually I don't know when they stopped. People were mad about that for a while because it was made in the same game engine as Halo 3, and I don't get that. That's another thing I have to point out, is that Halo 1 came out and people liked it. Halo 2 came out and people liked it. Halo 3 came out and people liked it. Every single other Halo game that has come out, people didn't like. People have gotten mad at all the other Halo games when they came out for some reason or other. Halo Reach I can kind of understand because it is a very different type of story. It's a tragedy, not a power fantasy. And the art style it chose suits that fairly well. But they've been making various types of games, and people have gotten mad at all of them except for the core trilogy, and I wouldn't be surprised if people got mad at stuff in the core trilogy, but I don't know about that. I haven't heard of that part. Yeah, Buck was, I'm going to say, a playable character because there wasn't a single character that you play as in ODST. Aside from Rookie, I guess. The structure on that one is a little weird. I mean, it's neat. It's got you're a bunch of ODSTs, or orbital drop shock troopers. You drop into a city as a disaster event happens that is roughly equivalent to someone setting off a nuke over on that side of the city. So all of your drop pods get knocked way off course and you're scattered throughout the city. And it opens with you being the rookie and waking up in the middle of the night, hours after landing. And you wander around the city and find clues as to where everyone else is, and then you play the other characters' perspectives in flashbacks. And Buck is one of those flashback perspective things. But that was a game that established that he was good at stuff. And also, he wasn't just on the team. He was the boss of that team. Kind of. There was stuff going on and another person showed up that wasn't technically part of the things. You might be interested in Starship Troopers by R.A. Heinlein. It has a lot of the same Space Marine trademark vibes. I am not sure quite what you mean by Space Marine vibes. in ODST, they have Buck established as the, you know, the mean boss, because that's his job, is being the mean boss of the team. And there's like, there's a customization option in Halo Reach that is for the firefight game mode, and only for the firefight game mode. You can change what voice your character has to various characters throughout the franchise. And one of them is Buck. And one of the things it says in the character description for that is, if he was any better, he'd be a Spartan. So, we've got two separate sources where it establishes that, yeah, Buck is good at stuff. He knows what he's doing. And then in Halo 5, he's not the boss, so he's not having to be mean and grumpy all the time. But it's also made very clear in that one that who he's played by. They even could have just given Locke some build up and make sure you respect him before having him fight Chief, instead of trying to use that fight to win your respect. That too. But like, one of the things right at the really later on in the game, they have the, I guess, spoilers for a game that is not new anymore. But it's not exactly old either. But towards the end, they have the now evil Cortana is trying to I guess break you. She's throwing cheap insults at your team, trying to get you to stop fighting her or something. It really fell flat. I didn't get it. Honestly, you get a fair bit of information about these characters that wasn't mentioned anywhere else. Like, apparently one of the characters is supposedly just crazy. Not established anywhere else except for when Cortana's trying to get in your heads. Anyway, but what she uses to try and get at Buck is like, wow, you're so much more experienced than everyone else, but you're not the boss? Don't you feel upset that you're playing second fiddle to children? And he's just like, is she calling me old? But that's just another thing, is he was the established veteran of the team. Technically Locke had shown up somewhere before once, but it was in a hidden Easter egg terminal in the Halo 2 Anniversary Remaster. It has power armor, ODSTs, Marines in space, uncomfortably evil authority figures. Would you believe me if I told you that's actually not why I like Halo? I don't know. I don't know why I do like Halo, aside from, you know, it's a pretty well put together shooter title. But yeah, Halo 5 could have been managed a little bit better in a few ways. And I'm ranting a lot about how flawed it is, but the point I was gonna make is we're too harsh on it. It wasn't that bad, guys. And I chose probably the single worst way to make that point. Yeah, one of the primary things that Halos 4 and 5 did differently from the previous games is that instead of having world-centered storytelling, they have character-centered storytelling. So now, instead of focusing on, whoa, the universe is big and impressive and wondrous, and we don't know everything, to, alright, let's look at the characters a bit. And it started writing character onto previously like roughly blank slate characters that were supposed to be a bit of a self-insert for the player. It's not the best book in the world, but there's a lot of... That's where Halo got it. I feel like there's an element of that in the Cobra books as well. It's... Okay, so I'm going to say where the similarity is, but just... they're not that similar of an experience. There's the list of, like, cyborg super soldier augmentations. Reading the Spartan augmentations and the Cobra cyborg augmentations, the lists are kind of uncanny in how similar they are. And that's about where the similarities end. The slight differences, I will note, the Spartans do not have lasers in their hands or feet. But they've got the same indestructible ceramic bones, they've got the brain chip, they've got... this is a slightly different, but they've got the mechanized power armor for the Spartans, and the Cobras just have motors put on their joints that, you know, that give them superhuman strength. They've got the computer in their brain that gives them hyper reflexes and lets them use their super strength. The Spartans have like optical enhancer stuff in their helmets. The Cobras have optical enhancers in their head. There's just cameras in their face around their eyes. It's kind of strange how similar they are. And then you look at the release dates and go, oh, okay, yeah, Cobra's older than Halo. Oh man, Timothy Zahn is a really good writer. And there was a point I felt like I was going to make earlier, but I forgot what it was, and then I remembered it, but finished saying what I was saying, and then forgot it again in the meantime. What was it? Oh, well. Also, this might be strange of me to say. I'm not actually that big on reading. I do think reading is important and literature is great. I just don't have the attention span, I want to say. I'm not very good at sitting still and reading. I don't know how else to put it. I feel like the reason I can handle video games as well as I can is because they're quite interactive. But then that wouldn't explain why I can handle movies. But then, you know, looking back on it, I don't know. I'm one of those annoying guys that talks over movies. Yeah. Oh. Starship Troopers. That sounds familiar. Oh, okay. I think I know where I heard that. There was also a movie of that, wasn't there? That was the one where they're like fighting the bug monsters. Okay, yeah. I think I actually have that here. And yes, I fully acknowledge that watching the movie is not an analog for reading the book. But I also guarantee you that more people have watched The Lord of the Rings than have read The Lord of the Rings. I believe it's a parody of the book. Okay. So the book was doing it unironically, and the movie was like, okay. Right. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to kill the guy. Man, I'm pretty far along to getting all the soul I need for the pyromancy stuff. Although I haven't seen the movie yet. Okay. Well. I ain't a pirate, so you're not gonna find it here. It's funny, there are people who say, oh yes, the alternative to paying for all the annoying streaming services is quite simple. Just do piracy. I say, no, it's actually simpler than that. Do nothing. Just don't watch it. Don't pirate it. Don't pay for it. Just don't watch it. And I'm not gonna say that all governments know what they're doing about everything at all times. But piracy specifically, I don't get that. I don't appreciate that. I don't approve of that. It is theft. Pure and simple. You are simply stealing something. And I don't care how much you hate the person or company or conglomerate or whatever you're stealing it from. Just don't. If you want them to not have your money, don't give them your money. That's fine. If you want the goods or services provided by an individual or a company, then buy it from the guy! Sorry, this is another thing I feel fairly strongly about for some reason. I don't have people pirating stuff from me. I don't even make stuff that can be pirated, really. I mean, all my stuff that one could theoretically pirate like that is readily available for free here on YouTube, and the channel only has, like, I think it was 11 subscribers last time I checked, so it doesn't get ads, so... So really, I'm not worried about people pirating my stuff, 'cause I'm really not convinced they could if they wanted to. Man, how did I even get on the subject of piracy? From Halo. Yeah, the... Sorry, I feel like I might be preaching to the choir. Oh. I lost track of time. Oh. And how much soul I had? That's a fair sum. I think I'm probably going to finish off my bolts. Or no, I'll go through a few more times just to get to the previously estimated number of about 70,000. Because, you know, it's right there. I'm gonna go carefully work my way to Blighttown, and I'm going to upgrade my pyromancy. I should probably also buy some more bolts at some point in that whole thing. And I need to head to Blighttown anyway. Yeah. Halo is pretty fun, pretty good. They started doing some interesting character stuff for Halo 4 and 5. Even if it was a little bit clunky and messy. And then for Halo Infinite, they managed to take like an hour worth of gameplay and story and cram it into a 10-hour game. Like, first impression of Halo Infinite, really good, quite fun. Except for a couple things I have gripes with that other people that I know don't have gripes with. There are different gripes between me and other people. Because opinions vary and not everyone is the same, as much as some people would like that. My personal gripe with Halo Infinite is what they did to the guns. Like, they brought back the classic Halo 2 battle rifle. Sweet! I like that one. Cool gun. They maybe made it a little bit too reliable in that they doubled the maximum ammo capacity. Speaking of ammo, haha. But they doubled the maximum ammo capacity, if I remember correctly, which means you just never have to use any of the other guns. Which doesn't upset me as much as it probably should. They introduced the sidekick pistol, which my only complaint about it at all, I have two, and they're not very big. One is that it's the second UNSC pistol in the Halo franchise, not called the Magnum. Suggesting that it is in some way lesser than the Magnum. But at the same time, the other pistol that wasn't called Magnum was the Halo 1 Magnum, which everyone calls it a Magnum anyway, even though in that it was just called the pistol. And that was, you know, the most powerful iteration of that weapon we've seen to date. So that was one of my complaints. The other complaint is that it kind of doesn't look that much like the Halo handgun. But, you know, I can't complain about that too much because neither did the one in Halo 2. Like, those are my only gripes about that gun. I like that gun. I like pistols in video games, and that's a good one. Halo 2's pretty fun to use. Halo 1 Magnum, I have mixed feelings about. Because on the one hand, it's like the best gun in the game. Just because it's, you know, terribly balanced and exceedingly powerful. On the other hand, it's not that fun to use. The sound is fine, the hit feedback is a little underwhelming, the accuracy leaves something to be desired. It's just in terms of game feel, it's an okay gun, I guess. Halo 2 Magnum, I think, is pretty fun, especially in the remaster. They changed the sound that it makes, and that's a pretty good new sound that it makes. I actually quite enjoy the Halo 5 pistol. It feels like a good meaty pistol. Halo Infinite, I think, has one of the most enjoyable pistols in any of them so far, and I've had people disagree with me on that. That's fine. That's a matter of opinion. The battle rifle, pretty good. My complaint is, like, the shotgun. Why did they do that to my precious They went and took the Halo shotgun, and they were gradually changing it over the course of the new games, and I didn't like what they were doing with it. They were taking it, reducing its ammo capacity, and increasing its power, which is fine. Do with it mechanically what you want. That was actually more fun to use when it was super powerful. But the problem I had with it was they were changing the way it looked. It didn't look like the shotgun anymore. And really all they would have had to do to make it look about the same is just smooth the top out a little bit, or round it off a little bit, something, and put the glowing sights on it. Like, they don't need to be the same color sight, they just need to be glowing and about the same size, shape, and position. That's it! That is not a lot of work! Yeah, and then in Halo Infinite, they just completely threw the shotgun design out the window and made, like, a fully automatic drum magazine shotgun. Okay, and it might not actually be fully automatic. I've heard someone say that it was pump action still. But you hold the trigger and it continuously fires, so gameplay-wise, it's an automatic shotgun. And I don't know why they did that. Because it's like, okay, cool. You've got higher ammo capacity, higher rate of fire, and lower damage. They'd been lowering the ammo capacity, rate of fire, and damage for several games at that point. They just took the shotgun, turned it back into the Halo 1 shotgun, and completely changed the appearance. And I don't get it. Okay, I should probably actually stop farming there and go do the other stuff, because I am beginning to lose my voice. And I also forgot to get a glass of water before coming in here. Actually, I didn't forget. I remembered it, but decided not to because I just drank a little mug of something caffeinated so that I would be able to make it through the stream. And went, that's probably enough water for a couple hours, right? Well, I mean, it probably would have been if I stopped an hour ago. I've been going a lot longer on this episode than I usually try to. Okay, I'm going to first grab more bolts at at Undeadburg, and then I'll go upgrade my pyromancy. Man, I got really into it talking about Halo there. I feel like that's just my one-off instance of proof. See? Look, there. That back there. I can talk. I can find a topic and talk about it. I just have trouble finding things that I'm able to talk passionately about like that while I'm recording or streaming or whatever. I'm a lot more talkative in real life than in videos because it's hard to get into the flow of. So, do you have any video games you like? Yeah, Halo. Halo's pretty good. Halo 1, I would say play it just so you know what's going on a bit better in the other games. First one I played was Halo 2. Yeah. Just the Master Chief Collection is pretty good. It's just all of them through. I think it only goes through Halo 4, but it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, ODST, and Reach. And that's another thing. You can't actually get Halo 5 on PC. And that's probably because people got all butthurt that 343 wasn't making their personal taste in video games. But yeah, Master Chief Collection, it's on Steam, it goes on sale sometimes. I mentioned earlier I played Gears of War for the first time only a couple years ago. I was about to say the full series, but I haven't actually. I only played 1 through 3 because it was a trilogy. And I enjoyed it. The guy I played it with was not enjoying it. And this leaves me with questions like, do I have an iron stomach? Yeah, that's within the acceptable price range. That isn't quite, so I'll leave it be.
Oh, thanks.
I didn't just buy wood arrows, did ah! Okay.
Oh, I hope.
Yeah, that's not in the acceptable price range at all. I can get like a couple hundred for that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so Gears of War, I noticed one thing. All the games are very similar in the good way, which is that they take it, they make the next game like a direct continuation of it. Wait, there was a fire here. I could just wormhole back. So you learn how to play one of them, and you should have a pretty solid idea how to play all of them. They don't just change stuff for no reason. They have a neat reloading mechanic. I remember playing through them though. There's stuff like when you sprint, it has a aggressive camera shake, and I mean aggressive. And the guy I was playing it with was... I don't strictly know if he actually was, but I don't know him to be a dishonest person, and he was talking about how he was getting sick from how much camera shake it had. And that game's favorite color is like brown and gray, which, you know, as any child with a set of paints has learned, when you mix all the paints to make the ultimate color, you get brown. So brown is the ultimate color. But those are its favorite colors. Even the blue stuff kind of looks gray because the armor is covered in little blue LEDs or something. The second game, it has a little bit more color in it, but not like super much. It's like, oh, you finally found the saturation slider and turned on color a little bit. And then the third game has some parts that are just downright pretty. They just actually look nice. Alright, let's try and snake up on this guy and backstab him. Success! Ow! I failed. I successfully hit him in the back, but not in the way that I wanted to. Alright, the threshold still stands. But yeah, there are parts in the third Gears of War game that are just outright pretty. At the same time, if you don't care for things like blood and gore and other such pleasantries, I can't recommend it. It is quite fond of those. This is, after all, the game franchise where someone thought it would be a good idea to have the bayonet on your rifle be a chainsaw. So, something to be said about that. Ow. Nope, 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 run. That's bad. Let me think. Other video games I like. Well, the Portal games are good. The Portal games are pretty good. I mean, I'm enjoying this one, despite what it might look like at times. It's a situation of I'm playing it, so I want to talk about it, but at the same time, I've been avoiding spoilers for it for so long that, like, I get upset when someone brings it up out of nowhere in an unrelated video. I think I have at like 3 separate occasions gone to watch the Joseph Anderson video talking about Super Mario Odyssey, and then like a minute in he says, I'm gonna start talking about Dark Souls now. I'm like, dude, what? This is a Mario video. Other games I like. Terraria is fun in doses. And I'm not gonna say small doses, but managed doses. Smash Bros, that one's fun. Or Super Smash Brothers, I guess. I have a small gripe about that one, which is that at some point they started making a bunch of DLC characters for it and made the horrible mistake of making the DLC characters better than the default characters. So they accidentally turned it into a pay-to-win. Whoops. Now that said, I don't think it's so much that a novice player against a skilled player would be able to win just because he bought the DLC. But come on, guys, really? Where is my corpse? Oh, delightful. It's very close to him. And for you, you get special treatment. I'm wasting a spell on you. Any other games I like? See, that's a surprisingly tricky question. I've got, I think the general term for it is a gaming backlog, where I have like 100 games in my Steam library and have played maybe a dozen of them. Whoa, forgot about you. So, and that's just on Steam. On Xbox, the list is different. I've also got this funny thing where I'll see a game on YouTube and go, oh, that looks fun, and then I play it and it's not fun. Why can't I hit this dude? Okay. I'm gonna start calling out examples of games that look more fun than they actually are, in my opinion. This, like, Stick Fight the game, you've got Gang Beasts. Both of those have basically the exact same problem for me, which is that they're random. There are certain elements where how it determines who wins appears to be completely random and undetermined by your abilities or skill at the game. So, on the one hand, you can, in theory, win against someone even if they are much more skilled than you at the game. But in practice, it just means if you're good at the game, you won't get in a fist fight. I don't know. I also have other gripes with gang beasts. Let's change out this for this. Alright, we're almost there. I hope I'm not dumb and misreading the soul counter to think I have one more digit than I do. That sure looks like it's more than 70,000. I also hope I wasn't dumb before and misread how many digits I needed. Oh good, you're still there.
Ah, it has been some time. Truth be told, I thought you had perished.
I had several times. 36,000. Alright. Well. It cost more than I remembered. So I would need an additional 4,061.
Now go. Whatever you do, do not crack and go hollow, lest my time spent on you be wasted.
Alright, first things first. Can I just press a button and have that? Oh, yep, there it is.
Ah, there you are. I was expecting you. Let us begin.
No, not purchase, modify. Ha 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 ha! I have enhanced it even further.
Pyromancy is the art of invoking and manipulating fire. But remember one thing. Always fear the flame, lest you be devoured by it and lose yourself. I would hate to see that happen again.
Huh. Well, that feels like a strangely important warning. But on the other hand, I think I've kind of got that, because, yeah, fire's my most powerful weapon, but it's also my greatest weakness. Anything that specs into fire is just the bane of my existence, so. Fear the fire. Got it. Let's talk some more.
Pyromancy is the... But remember, always...
Alright.
I would hate...
Alright, nothing more to say.
Now go. Whatever you do, do not crack and go hollow, lest my time spent on you be wasted.
Alright. And I'm just gonna head to the next bonfire into there. call it there. I think I'll... You asked if I have any video games I like. I think what I'll have to do is look through what games I have and pick out the ones that I know I like and such, and toss those, make a list and toss it in a comment or something. I can pin comments, I think. So, seeing a pinned comment from me about, oh, here's a list of games I like, will make no sense unless you watch this far into the stream. Take that. Yeah, because there's a bunch of good games out there. The new Zelda games are pretty good. There's Breath of the Wild is... See, I don't know how to describe it. Mechanically and gameplay-wise, it's really good. Story-wise, it's got some really good stuff in there, but the game as a whole doesn't seem to be entirely focused on that element. Like, it's got some good stuff in there. They made a spin-off to Breath of the Wild that was a sequel to a different game, which is Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. That one, I like that one, although the thing that's easy for me to forget about it is just how much of the game happens in menus. Which is to say most of it. On the first playthrough, most of the game is menus and stuff, where it's like, okay, do you have the resources required to press this button? If yes, press the button and you get an upgrade. That's a lot of it, but I like what the story in that did, and people will fight over whether or not it's canon, and what I'm going to say is, sure, why not? It makes literally no difference. Okay, it makes this much difference. But effectively it makes no difference because we're playing with a football field here. There's Tears of the Kingdom. Yep, that's a sequel to Breath of the Wild. I like the story a lot better. But it also feels weirdly allergic to mentioning the previous game. It's like, on the one hand, sure, don't go assuming everyone knows everything about Breath of the Wild. But on the other hand, they didn't have to go quite as far as they did in scrubbing any traces of it. Anyway, I feel like the thing that was most disappointing to me about Tears of the Kingdom was just how similar it is to Breath of the Wild, which is a weird thing to say because I like Breath of the Wild, but they basically didn't change anything. So if you've already played Breath of the Wild so much that you're kind of getting tired of it, then yeah, you'll get tired of Tears of the Kingdom very quickly. Man, I'm still talking about stuff, and I need to end the stream. I can maybe try and pick up on this topic next time, but this is fueled by caffeine, which I normally try to avoid drinking pesticides, so I'm not a big coffee person. I didn't even drink coffee, I drank tea. And sleep deprivation, because I'm running on like 3 hours right now. So, yeah. We'll see if I'm able to be this talkative next time. I really hope so. I enjoy being this talkative, and I hope to get used to it enough that I don't feel like my sinuses are gonna fall out. I don't know why that's what it feels like, but that's what it feels like. Anyway, I have to stop. That's all. That's all for this time. Thank you for watching. It's nice just talking about stuff. Yeah. Farewell, and don't take wooden nickels. Get some sleep. I intend to. I'm gonna like take a nap as soon as the camera's off. Bye.